Okay.
Awesome. Good morning, everyone. So glad that you could join us for today's webinar. My name is Shonda Harris, and I'm a business opportunity specialist with the Columbus Small Business Administration, better known as the SBA. We cover Central and Southern Ohio, and we are excited to be able to put on today's webinar. Today's webinar is a part of a collaborative government contracting series that we do in partnership with the APEX Accelerator. So you'll be hearing a little bit about APEX Accelerator here in a few minutes. But again, we want to welcome you to today's webinar. It is on Meet Your Federal Resource Partners. We understand that the small businesses that we work with, a lot of them may be new to federal government contracting. And so just trying to help navigate and doing business with the government, we found that introducing you to some of the resources that are available in some of the small business offices. With the SBA, we have a Procurement Center Representative, a PCR, but introducing you to some of those resources will give you an opportunity to learn more about doing business with the government and to help you kind of navigate. And before we get started, we will ask if you do have, I can't see everyone, but if you do have on your camera, we ask that you turn your cameras off so that our presenters will be the only ones presenting. All right. Again, today's webinar will be recorded, and the link for the recording will be posted in about a week or so, and then access to the slides, the PDF slides will be available. All right, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Ms. Sharon Hopkins, who is the director of the APEX Accelerator at Ohio University and our wonderful partner that we're able to put on these webinars. Sharon, you want to tell us a little bit about APEX Accelerator?
Sure, Shonda, thank you. Good morning and welcome to our exciting meeting this morning. My name is Sharon Hopkins, as Shonda mentioned. I'm the director at the Ohio APEX Accelerator, housed at Ohio University. The APEX Accelerator across Ohio covers all 88 counties. Our particular center with Ohio University covers 62 of those 88 counties. But if you're not in one of our counties, we can help you get to the right person as well. Without further ado, I will tell you a little bit more about what we do. So the APEX Accelerators are a grant-funded organization that their sole purpose in life is to help Ohio businesses sell to government contractors and agencies. So that's what we would call a prime contracting with the federal agency or subcontracting with a prime contractor. So with that, we help you look at opportunities. We help you get registered in the right places to learn about any set-aside groups that you may fall into in which you can receive certification. All of the federal certification now goes through SBA, so we have a great relationship with them, and often are able to help you as you have questions and need help along the certification process. We also can guide you and help you explain what some of the questions on the application means, or when they list documentation that you need to submit, we can help decipher what all of that means to help you. We also help you get registered at the right sites. If you're doing government with the federal government, or if you're doing contracting with the federal government, you must be registered at sam.gov. So we also assist with that registration and many, many others. We also help teach you, train you, just like this training today is to help you learn. We do this monthly with SBA. And we hold lots of trainings throughout the year, not only myself, but also my team. And so we are here to assist with that. As you find contracts that you're interested, or solicitations that you're interested in going after that contract or award, we can help you, guide you through that, give you guidance and suggestions to make your proposal hopefully one of the better ones received. We also can look over your proposal and give you suggestions at that point, as long as there's time before the submission deadline. We have a bid match program in which we utilize coding and keywords that will match you against the government and what they're buying. That gives you a heads up on what agencies are buying your stuff, as well as opportunities you can go after. We also will teach you how to find within the government what agencies buy your product or service, and which is what we call filling your pipeline. And so we also teach courses on that as well. And we can just help you through all those steps. If you're an innovative company or have an innovation, we also can assist with what they call Small Business Innovation Research Awards. We can assist with those proposals as well. And the Small Business Tech Transfer Research Awards. So we can kind of take you from A all the way through to Z. And we can also hold your hand as much or as little as needed throughout the whole process. And then we are there after. We are also there.
Bars.
Hold on, let me mute somebody here. We are also there after the award. And so if you have questions or need help or need guidance, we also can give some guidance in that way. Most of the time, our guidance afterwards is helping you get paid. But again, we go from A to Z and can guide and offer assistance throughout. If you're not a client of ours and you're interested, I will put our website in the chat, and you are welcome to go there and register. Our services are totally free, and we are paid for by a grant from the Department of Defense, the state of Ohio, and then locally for our 62 counties, Ohio University matches that to help the community throughout Ohio. So with that, I will give Shonda the reins back, and I will put our website in the chat.
Wonderful, Sharon. Thank you so much. So for everyone that's on today, whether you're new to government contracting, you've been doing this for a few years, or if you're a seasoned pro, APEX Accelerator is a great resource to be able to help you on your federal government contracting journey. All right, and for today, we are excited to have a wonderful lineup of some great resources to assist you again on your government contracting journey. We have someone from the SBA, probably a hidden gem, a resource that a lot of small businesses aren't aware of, in that of a procurement center representative. We also we'll be hearing from the Army Corps of Engineers, NASA, and Ohio National Guard. And again, if you're just getting started on your federal government contracting journey, maybe you just registered in SAM, as Sharon had mentioned, and now you're wondering, what do I do next? Or how do I find out if an agency buys what I sell, my goods or my services? How do I find out what an agency buys? How can I do business? Oh, the National Guard, Army Corps, NASA, how do I do business with them? Where do I look for opportunities? I'm sure that is on the tips of everybody's minds this morning. So our representatives will be here this morning to kind of share that with you. So it is a great, if you can utilize the APEX accelerators and the resources that we have today from the federal agencies, they can really help you to navigate your journey. All right, to get us started, We are going to start with the Paksa Dewhurst, who is with the SBA, who serves as a Procurement Center Representative, or PCR. I'm going to allow Pak to give a little bit about his background and then share a little bit about who PCRs are and the type of job that they do and how they can be a great resource to you as a small business. So Pak, if you want to take it. And just a couple of housekeeping, because we have four agencies, they'll have about 20 or 25 minutes apiece. We'll ask if you do have questions that you can save them. You can go ahead and put them in the chat, but we'll try to address them after each presentation so that we allow enough time for each presenter to get through the slides. So Jill Maggie Reynolds, my counterpart, will be managing and looking at the chat. So if you want to put your questions in the chat, and again, after each presenter, we'll address those questions. All right, Pak, if you are ready, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
I'm so nervous.
Oh, I think you'll do well, Pak.
Okay.
I'm
here to work on my shyness, as we spoke about earlier, before this presentation. But
We're
good
here
morning.
for you.
Good morning.
I think you'll be fine. We're here for support. We got you.
Okay, great. I might have to, just, put my head on your shoulder and just, get that support here throughout.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Pak Dewhurst, Small Business Administration's Procurement Center Representative. I am based out of the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base area. That's where our office is physically located. Being with the Office of Government Contracting, I'm the only PCR in the 10-state area here in Area 4 that is actually co-located with the acting area director, Dr. Thomas Krusmark. We're both at Wright-Patterson. The position of my position as the PCR was newly created about 18 months ago. Dr. Tom Krusmark was at the time our deputy director of Area 4, and he was dual-hatted as a procurement center representative for about 8 years, and then he finally said, I this is a high volume, and so I need to hire someone to take the baton, and that's me. Previously, I was a small business liaison, or small business professional, or small business specialist. It's all one and the same. But I was a small business liaison with the Department of Veterans Affairs for about 9.5 years. So some of you might recognize my name. And then when I show my face at the end of my presentation for a few minutes of a Q&A, I will show my face, and some of you might recognize me. Myself and Dr. Krusmark, as well as other SBA personnel in the area, will be attending the upcoming matchmaking event here in late April. So you'll see me, and so if you want to have those side conversations, or ask me any questions, I will certainly make myself available to you all. So without further ado, I'm going to go into this PCR presentation, and then you'll get to know a little bit about what I do as a PCR, and also you'll get a little bit of an insight of my background a little bit. And so we will start. And if you can hold all questions until the end of my presentation, I would really appreciate it. Thank you. What is a procurement center representative? Okay, overview. Today, I'll explain the mission of the U.S. Small Business Administration. I'll describe the key programs and roles within the Office of Business Development and Office of Government Contracting. Detail the functions of a PCR, the authority and qualifications, and I'll provide the guidance on when and how to contact someone like me. The SBA was established in 1953 to aid, counsel, assist, and protect the interests of small businesses. Its mission is to maintain and strengthen the nation's economy by enabling small businesses to start, grow, and compete in markets. The SBA was created in response to pressures from the Great Depression and World War II to help small businesses access capital and compete for government contracts. Now, as the only go-to resource and voice for small businesses backed by the strength of the federal government, the U.S. Small Business Administration, or the SBA, empowers entrepreneurs and small business owners and the resources and support they need to start, grow, or expand their businesses, or even recover from a declared disaster. It delivers services through an extensive network of SBA field offices and partnerships with public and private organizations. Again, created in 1953, the SBA continues to help small business owners and entrepreneurs pursue the American dream. SBA is the only cabinet level federal agency fully dedicated to small businesses, and it provides counseling, capital, and contracting expertise as the nation's only go-to resource and voice for you, small businesses. SBA, as of last week, SBA has a federal workforce of over 3,400 people. Yes, we're tiny, but we're mighty. There are numerous sub-departments within the SBA, but today I will briefly talk about the Office of Business Development and the Office of Government Contracting in the next few slides. For the remainder of the presentation, I will discuss in more detail about the roles and responsibilities of the Procurement Center Representative, or PCR, within the Office of Government Contracting. But before I delve into the two SBA divisions, I want to emphasize here the SBA's primary function is to support and advocate for small businesses and support agency procurement centers such as NASA, Army National Guard here in Ohio, and the Army Corps of Engineers, for example. Those are what we call procurement centers. We do not act as a watchdog, for lack of a better word, but while the SBA does have oversight responsibilities, this is not a primary function. Okay, the Office of Business Development, that's Miss Jill Nagy-Reynolds and Shonda Harris's sub-department or office where they work out of. So I'll briefly talk about that, and then I'll talk about mine. So the Office of Business Development oversees several programs designed to support small businesses, particularly those owned by socially and economically disadvantaged individuals. The key three programs include the 8A Business Development Program, the SBA Mentor Protege Program, and the Hub Zone Program. Key roles within the Office of Business Development. We have the Business Opportunity Specialist, or BOS. Again, that's Ms. Shonda Harris and Ms. Jill Nagy-Reynolds. They are advocates for 8A firms in business plan development and compliance with the 8A Business Development Program. They support firms in contract sourcing, marketing, financial consultation, and business growth. Now, the Business Development Specialist, or BDS, develops strategies to enhance competitiveness for 8A and non-8A contracts. They research and coordinate training materials for small businesses and SBA offices and advise firms on realistic federal contracting objectives. Okay. As shown here, business development is comprised of 10 regions. The business opportunity specialists and business development specialists are your local resources, and they are available at SBA and district and branch offices across all 50 states and its territories. Some states have one district office or branch office. Some states have several. Here in Ohio, we have two district offices, one in Cleveland, one in Columbus, and then we have a virtual site in Dayton, according to my research. Now, the Office of Government Contracting, well, that's my office. It oversees several programs designed to support small businesses. The key programs include the small business set-asides, the subcontracting program. The SBA establishes small business size standards by industry, certificate of competency, women-owned small business federal contracting program, which provides opportunities for women-owned small businesses and federal contracting, and the service-disabled veteran-owned small business program, which provides opportunities for service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses and veteran-owned small businesses in federal contracting. So let's examine some of those programs within the Office of Government Contracting. Okay, the Certificate of Competency program, basically it allows the SBA to certify a small business's responsibility to perform a specific contract when a contracting officer deems it non-responsible. We have the non-manufacturer rule. The SBA grants waivers to the rule requiring small businesses to supply products from other small U.S. firms. Class waivers requested through the SBA headquarters in DC. They cover product categories without small business bids for 2 years. Individual waivers are what we handle here outside of Washington, DC. The individual waivers are processed at the area level. For example, I'm in Area 4. There's 6 areas, but here in Area 4, for the PCRs, such as myself, we process individual waivers. They apply to specific contracts lacking small business suppliers. Contracting officers request these through individual waivers, and the respective area office evaluates each to ensure fair opportunities for small businesses. Next, we have the Women's Procurement Program, also known as a Women-Owned Small Business Program. This initiative is designed to help women-owned small businesses compete for federal contracts. And then, of course, we have the Veterans Procurement Program. This refers to the SDVOSB procurement program. It is designed to provide SDVOSBs greater access to federal contracting opportunities and help federal agencies achieve the statutory goal of awarding federal contracting dollars to SDVOSBs each year. With the National Defense Authorization Act of 2024, this goal was raised from 3% to 5%. Now let's examine each role and their respective programs. Okay, the Office of Government Contracting's objectives are mutually based on small business goals, its programs, and small business set-asides. The following roles influence its success. First, we'll have the Procurement Center Representative. That's me. A PCR helps small businesses win federal contracts. PCRs view many federal acquisition and procurement strategies before they're announced. So this enables them to influence opportunities that should be set aside for small businesses. PCRs also conduct market research. They provide counseling on the contracting process and more. Next, we have the Commercial Market Representative. A CMR ensures that small businesses are receiving maximum practicable opportunity to participate as federal subcontractors. So what that illustrates right off the bat is that the Procurement Center Representative, our focus is to ensure that vendors have an opportunity as primes, right, and also subcontracting opportunities. But the Commercial Market Representative, they're going to be your experts on subcontracting. We even have, like I said, the CMR is dedicated to the role in supporting small businesses obtain those subcontracting opportunities. So we got both sides covered. The size specialist is involved in size determinations and size protest cases. Size specialists will investigate whether a self-certified firm meets the size standard for SBA programs using a firm's tax returns and/or payroll records, and depending on whether the size standard is revenue-based or employee-based, or in other words, centered on manufacturing or services, respectively. The size specialist will evaluate complex topics like ownership, control, and affiliation, which it can impact the size status of a firm. The size specialist, we did have an assigned size specialist here in Area 4, but those duties have in recent months been transitioned to another part of the SBA, I believe, at headquarters. It's a very important program. Has not been reduced in importance. In fact, it's been increased in importance. That's why it has moved to the Washington, D.C. area. An industry specialist, forestry, is the fourth one I want to talk about. It's a position within the SBA's Natural Resource Sales Assistance Program. This program focuses on helping small businesses participate in government property sales and leases, particularly in the area of natural resources. The ISF assists in creating set-asides for small businesses in timber sales. These set-asides limit bidding on timber products exclusively to small businesses, giving them a chance to bid with limited competition before the products are offered to other businesses in the open market. The ISF works with various government agencies involved in timber sales, including the Department of Agriculture's Forest Service, Department of Interior's Bureau of Land Management, Department of Defense, Department of Energy, Department of the Interior's Fish and Wildlife Service, and Tennessee's Valley Authority. Okay. The Office of Government Contracting, or GC, works to create an environment for maximum practicable participation by small, disadvantaged, service-disabled, veteran-owned, and women-owned small businesses in federal government contract awards and large prime subcontract awards. GC advocates on behalf of small businesses in the federal procurement environment and plays a major role in the formulation of federal procurement policies that affect small businesses. Now, as shown here, GC is comprised of 6 areas across all 50 states and its territories. Area 1 in New England, the little brown circles, if you can see those, they represent the 4 PCRs in Area 1 and where they're located. Area 2, there's numerous PCRs. Area 3, a little over a half a dozen or so. Area 4, that's my area. As shown there, there's about 8 PCRs. Area 5, and there's about a half a dozen, maybe a little more. And then Area 6, and there's about a half a dozen there. And please note that we have one in Puerto Rico that falls under Area 1. For the CMRs, we have about a half a dozen, maybe a little more. We have one in, actually 2 in Area 1, one in Area 2, one in Area 3. We have one here in Area 4, based out of the St. Louis area. And we have Area 5 and Area 6. For the size specialist, they were previously located again in the area offices as shown there in the red upwards arrow symbol. But again, those roles have been transitioned over to the Washington, D.C. area. The ISF, there are, I believe, 2, one in Atlanta and one in the Seattle area. Okay, PCR's reach. Okay, all 50 states and territories have PCR representation, but a PCR's reach varies. So numerous states have one assigned PCR. This is typical for states located around the Great Plains region. Several individual states have more than one PCR. Those states have more federal agency than others. Many PCRs support numerous federal agencies spanning 2 or more states. There are several PCRs who are predominantly dedicated to a single procurement center due to its size, complexity, and typically with a high volume of procurement actions. Okay, let's talk about the PCR's functions, authority, and qualifications. Basically, we advocate for small businesses. We train federal agencies, resource staff and other partners, and small businesses. We mediate a wide range of small business matters, and we work closely with contracting officers, contract specialists, and small business professionals at federal buying offices. PCR functions. I'm going to touch on many of these. We assure small businesses are given fair consideration and opportunity in federal procurements. We assist agencies in meeting small business goals, and we do this through training, counseling, and technical assistance. We communicate with federal agencies on their upcoming procurement needs to support their unique mission requirements. We receive cure and show cause notices of businesses headquartered in the PCR's area of responsibility, and we offer them assistance if needed. We process certificate of competency requests when assigned, and we inform federal agencies on small business regulations, updates, and changes in SBA programs. We participate in various local and regional industry outreach events, such as business matchmakers that I mentioned earlier, symposiums, and industry engagements. We review small business coordination records, such as the DD Form 2579, the DOE Form 4220, EPA Form 1900-37, and the VA's Form 2268, and others, to ensure that small businesses, you, are offered opportunities to compete. Other reviews include subcontracting plans for compliance and assessment of maximum small business subcontracting participation on prime contracts prior to contract award. And we examine and discuss solicitations with agencies prior to the publication in the government-wide point of entry, or SAM.gov. Okay, now the PCR authority and qualifications. So where do I get my authority and qualifications? Okay, well, first off, quite simply, the PCR's authority is derived from FAR Part 19 and the Code of Federal Regulations, or the CFR. Okay, qualifications. PCRs are acquisition professionals in the 1102 Occupational Job Series. All have extensive experience as warranted contracting officers. Myself served 23 years in the Air Force. Out of that, about a decade of the last part of my career, I was when I was on active duty, I was a contracting officer, branch chief at both Montana, Hill, Utah, and Wright-Patterson, and also at 4 deployed locations. So I was warranted, awarded contracts just like any other federal contracting officer. Then after that, I went off to the VA to become a small business specialist. So we all have the FAC-C professional. We are certified in that, formerly known as FAC-C Level 3, but it's all branded now as FAC-C Professional. All attained a minimum of a 4-year degree in accounting, business, finance, law, contracts, purchasing, economics, industrial management, marketing, quantitative methods, or organizational and management. Most PCRs in our area here in Area 4 have graduate degrees as well. We all competed on the job training, and we all have security clearance or favorable background and suitability to protect the operational activities of the specific agencies we as PCRs directly support day to day in our respective areas. Now, for example, since I support the Environmental Protection Agency, Department of Energy, both in Cincinnati, and Department of Veterans Affairs, and the Department of the Air Force within my area here in Southern Ohio, I I will be aware and made aware of certain aspects of their day-to-day mission as I assist them with their procurements and help resolve other contract issues. So I can't get away from being exposed to the nature of their mission in order to talk about ongoing contracts that may have issues with them, or solicitations that I might have questions on. Obviously, I'm going to be privy to a lot of the things that they need to be buying, services, construction, supplies, what have you. Those are the things that I need to know about, those very things that support their respective missions. You just can't get away from that. All PCRs are experienced in releasing information related to contracts and safeguarding source selection sensitive aspects of a particular acquisition. Customer and partners. This is probably going to be, this will probably give you a really, really good finite picture on where the PCR and how they are positioned in relation to our federal buyers, our small business professionals, our small businesses, the SBA staff, the resource partners, and so forth. So this is probably the most voluminous, or the most interesting, I believe, on the slides. So please, kind of, for those visual learners out there, this will probably help you a little bit. At least I hope so. Again, PCRs interact with various types of customers to achieve best customs or outcomes when performing compliance and advocacy. Again, keep in mind that the interaction is a two-way communication between the PCR, as shown there in the center, and the customer. It's a conversation. It's a two-way communication. Now, federal buyer, they include the contract specialists. Contract specialists conduct market research, source selection, cost and price analysis, negotiation, and contract admin. Contracting officer, or CO, is a person who can bind the federal government of the United States to a contract. The CO holds a warrant that allows them to negotiate on behalf of the United States government. Okay. At their office should have been a little green ball, a third green ball that signifies a small business professional. They work with the federal buyer at that office, but I want to talk about them separately. A small business professional are also commonly known as small business specialists, small business technical advisors, and other similar titles depending on the agency. Here I'll refer them as SBPs. SPPs are business advocates and interface on behalf of small businesses with government contracting officers, contract specialists, and their specific agency end users and key decision makers. SPPs support small businesses in preparing to successfully integrate themselves into the contracting process and obtain awards with their respective federal agencies. Small business. This includes small businesses, small disadvantaged businesses, 8As, hub zone, historically underutilized business zones or hub zones, women-owned small businesses, economically disadvantaged women-owned small businesses, veteran-owned small businesses, and those VOSBs who are service disabled. Other types of businesses supported include joint ventures and firms mutually engaged in mentor-protege relationships. The SBA staff, again, as discussed earlier, they include other PCRs, CMRs, the size specialists, industrial specialists, forestry, and let's not forget the BOS, the business opportunity specialists at the SBA district offices that fall into the other SBA subdepartment we talked about earlier. Although I mentioned the business opportunity specialists at the district offices earlier, I want to reemphasize this PCR's and CMR's close and frequent collaboration with them. The responsibility of the size specialist, as shown here, has shifted to our headquarters in Washington, D.C. in recent weeks, as I mentioned earlier. We also work with our resource partners. They are the APEX Accelerators, the Small Business Development Centers, or SBDCs, SCORE, and the Veterans Business Outreach Center, or the VBOC, and the Women's Business Centers. Okay, how do we get involved? Now, as federal buyers, I won't go into that too much. Let me go ahead, in the interest of time, move over to the small business. Now, for small businesses, we engage in public speaking events and panels. We can invite and endorse subject matter experts. We provide counseling to small
Excuse me,
business
Pac.
owners. Yes.
Pac, we may have about about 5 to 7 minutes. Do you know how much longer? I hate to interrupt. How
I
much?
have about 74 more slides left. No, just kidding. I have 4 slides left. I'll be done here
Okay.
pretty quick.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
So again, we engage in public speaking events and panels. We can invite and endorse subject matter experts, and we provide counseling to small business owners. We connect small businesses to the small business professional at the agency's contracting office. And we recommend policy changes. Now, our interaction with resource partners, they involved participation in outreach industry events. We make referrals on the behalf of prospective small businesses. We provide technical training on federal procurement topics, and we support small business innovation research, or SBIR, and small business technology transfer, or SITR, programs. And finally, we conduct direct outreach engagement with resource partners, such as your matchmakers and other industry events. When and how to contact a PCR. Federal procurement training and education, SB outreach events, SB utilization and counseling, market research tools, such as SAM, the Dynamic Small Business Search, and so forth. Audits, acquisition disputes, certificate of competency and size referrals, and internal acquisition strategies. How to contact a PCR. You type in that, you'll be able to get access to our website. I went back button, and now I'm going forward. It's www.sba.gov. Okay. When you type in www.sba.gov, you'll get to that website, which looks like that. Under federal contracting, then you hit Procurement Center Representative Directory, and you'll see the PCRs listed there. Okay. In summary, I've talked about all those things.
Thank you, Pac. If any of you have any questions for Pac, you can just go ahead and type that into the chat. All right, and we did get the question, Pac, is if the slide deck will become available to the attendees. I
Yeah.
believe so.
Sharon,
That's correct.
yes, Jill. Sharon
Okay.
will, all of the presentations, she, in addition to the recording link, she'll make them into a PDF, and then she'll also put them on their site, the OU APEX site. So it'll take about a week to finalize the recording link and to get all of the presentations converted. So next week they will be available. And Sharon, if you can put the link where they will be able to go and find that information, if you can put that in the chat.
We do have one question. We're interested in the women's procurement program. What steps do we need to take? I'm looking at the PCR directory. Looks like there are 2 for Ohio. Do I need to start by contacting one of them?
Well, yes. You'll see in the PCR directory, you will see Mr. Philip McLean, and David Dirks, he's based out of Minneapolis, but he oversees DLA, which is a very large agency in Columbus. So he supports them from afar, and myself. And
But there's
so,
not a specific separate women's procurement program. It's really for all small business.
well, correct. And so, yes. And once you contact that PCR, you know, any of those three here in the state of Ohio, we could refer you to those offices there. On this women-owned small business program, we'll point you there, definitely.
But also, like, all of the small business specialists, including the ones that we'll hear from today, are helping all small business. Like, they'll help. Like, if you have the certification for women-owned, they would gear the conversation more towards women-owned, but also small business in general. So
That's correct.
all of you that are on the call today can utilize the services of a PCR or the small business specialists that are on.
And also APEX Accelerator. So if you're interested
Correct.
in the
Yep.
women's certification, if you're interested in getting assistance, because there is a new platform, the APEX Accelerator is a great resource to also help you with that as well.
See, the question might be in a lot of people's minds in the audience is, well, how do I differentiate between the small business specialists and these agencies and the procurement center representatives? How do I contact those PCRs and those general areas of Area 4, and how can I tell who they support and the agencies each PCR supports? Well, for Area 4, and that's my area, the 10-state area, if what I will make available is a directory that I created for all of Area 4, for all of the 8 PCRs, and all the federal agencies in which all those PCRs support, and their contact info. And so that'll frame it a little bit clearer on our areas and who we support.
Can you drop the directory into the chat, Pac? That is a great directory, actually.
I can do that. I'll have to see. I'm pretty good at,
if you can.
I'm pretty good at destroying computers. I'm not.
Or you
really...
can send it to me and we can get it to the people, the attendees.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I can
Okay,
send
and I
that to
know
you
we're
here
on a time
momentarily.
crunch. Sorry.
No worries.
All right, Shonda, I don't see any further questions right now.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Pac. What a great overview of not only what PCRs do, but kind of how it fits in our structure here at the SBA and with government contracting. So very thorough. Thank you so much. Always do an excellent job.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Awesome. Thank you. Up next, we have Miss Eileen Hodges, who serves as the Deputy for Small Business at the Huntington District of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. You know how sometimes you just have that a brain fog. So Eileen has been a wonderful resource partner that we've worked with for years, and Army Corps of Engineers is a great resource. So Eileen, if you're ready, you can go ahead and take it from here.
Yes, I just decided it would be a good idea to take myself off mute.
And your
okay.
slide.
It was up.
No,
I had to stop so I could go back and take myself off mute. Just a second here. I'll get this back up. Okay. Morning, everyone. Are you viewing the slides okay?
Yes, they look good.
Okay. Now, they don't look as good as Pac's. I'll be honest. He had some pretty cool stuff on his, and I'm not that evolved in this. So sorry about the boringness of mine, but here we go. So I'm Eileen Hodges. I'm the Deputy for Small Business with the Huntington District U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our district and some different things here. I'm going to go pretty quickly, probably so that we have time for questions. And my information will also be at the end of the slide if anyone wants to get in touch with me. So first, our legal wants us to share this little disclaimer. So basically, the views presented here are my views, not necessarily the views of the DoD or its components. So basically, that's just in a nutshell. All right, so the Huntington District. We have the most civil works projects of any core district, including 35 dams, which are lake and dam type projects. We have 25 federal levees. We have local protection projects. We have 9 locks and dams in our district. So we cover 9 river basins in 45,000 square miles. We maintain over 400 miles of navigable waterways. We have a real estate program, and we have over 1,100 employees. The mission areas that we serve are navigation, flood risk management, recreation, water supply, and environmental stewardship. So our district is all about building the resiliency we need to keep professionals in place to get the work done. We try to communicate with our shareholders and stakeholders and get the work done in, say, different communities. We do everything we can to deliver results, but sometimes we get a bad rap because it does take time to come up with the solutions, go through all the studies, and safely deliver the projects and get the results we need. We're commanded by Colonel Jason Putnam, and he oversees the district and 3 special areas that we serve. Regionally, we have the Regional Rivers Repair Fleet. That is a fleet. There are actually 3 fleets, light, medium, and heavy capacity. Along with that, we have 3 repair stations. So Marietta, Louisville, and Pittsburgh. We have repair stations in those states. In those areas, and they require quite a number of supplies. So they are one of the big supply drivers of our procurements. We also have nationally the Dam Safety Modification Center of Expertise. You can see the chart in the middle. If you can see all the little, we call that the measles, the measles shot, because it shows kind of where all the dams that we have in our inventory are located. And then we also have the Planning Center of Expertise for Inland Navigation, Risk-Informed Economics Division. And that covers nearly 12,000 miles of rivers, and it monitors the movement between through the locks and dams in our footprint, in our USACE footprint. So quite a lot of stuff there. Oops. Huntington District, our top 4 North American Industry Classification System codes for 2024 were engineering services, construction of other non-building facilities, and that's also considered the heavy civil works. NAICS code 237990. We have quite a few with all of our civil projects. We have quite a lot of that moving dirt, horizontal construction type work. We had a lot of highway, bridge, and road construction last fiscal year, and we do maintain, by maintaining 35 lake and dam projects, we have a lot of our dollars going to landscaping services. So I know everyone is familiar with sam.gov. I just like to make sure everyone, if they're not registered, understands this is a free service. I like a free registration. I like to let them know that the APEX Accelerators are wonderful to help people get registered. And then there's this odd little thing I like to point out, because some people don't realize this. The federal government cannot use manufacturing or retail codes in the NAICS codes that start with a 4. We have to use the corresponding manufacturing code. So even if you're not a manufacturer, that's the code that we're going to be advertising under. So you want to make sure that that is in your registration, so that you're picking up when we're posting for that particular item. Just wanted to kind of put that out there, because it's a little known point, I think. So another eligibility requirement in the Great Lakes and Ohio River Division, which is we are one of 7 districts in that division, we are required to use the Procurement Integrated Enterprise Environment. So This is one of those applications that helps us with, getting our appointments, appointing our contracting officers representatives, which, we need to monitor all of these contracts, contract surveillance, government furnished property. That's a big one, trying to keep track of what the government owns when we're allowing contractors to use that property. And also security and invoicing, and specifically, and probably more importantly for us, solicitations. There is a place where you can go to get your to do your contractor registration and to get some training on PIEE, and that those links are provided there. And again, these slides will be available, so you can definitely get those links, follow them up, and see what's required. And here's the solicitation module specifics that, I said that's important. That's one of the important pieces to us, but it allows us to get the electronically submitted proposals and bids in a timely manner. There's a timestamp. It makes sure, it kind of tracks it and makes sure that we get it. Even though I do still recommend, if you're submitting on a proposal, never hurts to follow up with a contract specialist and just make sure that they see that it's in there. And it helps to capture the documents that, show the time and date stamps and all that sort of thing that are very important, especially when it comes to like bids, invitation for bid. And this is just a little bit more about the solicitation module. The important piece here is that the user's email address in this system must match the email address on file in sam.gov. So we're using this for all of our procurements. And if your email doesn't match your sam.gov email, that could cause a problem. It's also important that you get registered in PIEE in order to participate in our procurements. This is a free registration. So this is more specifically to our Lakes and Rivers Division, the ProjNet. So we are using this system to help us keep track of bidder inquiries, to coordinate the communications so that when you have a question, you can submit it. It gets referred to the technical subject matter expert to review, and then it gets the reply gets posted so that information is available to everyone who's interested in that particular procurement. It's not going to show who made the request. It's just going to pose the question and present the answer. The use of this application is mandatory for all requests for proposals and invitations for bid, and it is only regarding the 7 districts within the Great Lakes and Ohio River Division. So other districts in the Corps of Engineers may not be using this system, but they have determined that this is what they want to see so that we can kind of keep better track of the information that's coming and going, the flow of information. It's optional that they use this on simplified acquisitions. So you just want to read your solicitation carefully, see whether it's going to apply or not, so that you know whether you need to go in and get into that system. So the roles would be, if you're going to submit an inquiry, you would be the potential bidder or the contractor. And then the evaluator would be someone on our side, some subject matter expert. And then the reply will come from the contracting specialist or contracting officer. So basically each solicitation that gets posted, when it shows up on SAM, there will be a way to go in and see how to submit and view the inquiries. So there's information on each solicitation post that gives you a way to get into this and see what's available. So there's also a thing called a quick add key, and that is what it's assigned. Each solicitation has a quick add key, so you can go in pretty quickly and see what it is, what's going on with that particular procurement. So as I said, the support information is going to be included in the solicitation posting itself, so that it's there for every action. And then this is just a list of some of the benefits that we feel contractors get from using the ProjNet system. And basically, it's, as I said, just a way to communicate information across, all the contractors that are interested in a particular solicitation. And again, the contractor information on who's making the inquiry is not posted. It's just the question itself. So here's the big part of the difficulty with being a small business is, how do you find the opportunities so that you can, have your business positioned in the best place to be able to go after those opportunities. And the best way is using the forecast of opportunities that most agencies will have published somewhere. We post our entire division forecast on our Lakes and Rivers Division webpage. This link will take you directly to the location where you can open the opportunity forecast. You can export it to an Excel document, and you can sort it and filter it to see, which district you're interested in, or which types of work you're interested in. So it kind of makes it a little bit easier to just get down into the weeds and find out, oh, this is something I'm interested in, let's go after that. And it gives you more of a heads up about what's coming than if you were to see something get posted on sam.gov, which doesn't give you a lot of time usually to respond. You could also use the System for Award Management query to let it notify you when something that you're interested in bidding on comes up. You can also watch for special notices in sam.gov for things like industry days, outreach events, the posting of solicitations and awards. Just a lot of information in sam.gov. There is a data bank that you can actually use to locate information on awards that have already been made. Also, you want to watch for the award notices if you're interested in subcontracting opportunities. You want to see who's getting the award so that you know who you want to reach out to say, hey, I can do this part of that. So just kind of, there's a lot of information in sam.gov. And then besides all of those things, and you will see the attendance at workshops and networking events. I usually say, this is great. It's great to get FaceTime. But you want to make sure that you are getting the biggest bang for your buck with that. You want to make sure you're going to events that are in areas where you're wanting to do the work and with agencies that you're wanting to work with. You want to get an advanced copy of the attendee list if they have it, so you know who you're going to try to match up with, network with when you get there. So there's a lot of things that are important with these get-togethers. So for pre-bid meetings, especially when you, if you are interested in some part of the work, if you go to the pre-bid meetings, you can see who's going to be going out as, who you think is going to be going for prime contractor. So you can make sure they have your information so that you can provide them with, a quote so that they can include it in their response to the RFP or IFB. And then that kind of locks you in, not necessarily locks you in, but at least it gives you an in to, if one of those contractors gets that work, that they may turn to you to supply for the needs. So that there are important things about networking is kind of what I'm trying to get to here. Also, your APEX Accelerators. Obviously, this event is being hosted partially by the Ohio APEX Accelerators. You might want to consider that APEX Accelerators in regions where you want to work. So even if it's not your home APEX, there are APEX services that are available to you that may be located in other areas. So I provided the service area locator link there so that if, say, you're interested in a job in Texas, you can actually try to get into see what the local APEX Accelerator is, so that you can ask them, hey, do you have the bid match ability, that sort of thing, that your local one does. So I just kind of don't want you to stop at just your local one. There are other reasons why you might want to reach out to another APEX Accelerator just to get services from the area that you want to work in. So speaking of the forecast, I'm going to be showing some anticipated contract actions for FY 2025. A lot of things that we do, we are using what's called an indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity type contract. And the reason that we do that is because it allows us to go ahead and vet those contractors, evaluate them, have everything in place up front. So when a need arises, we can issue what's called a task order against the IDIQ contract. So a lot of the opportunities that we have in the district, I tried to, I don't necessarily have the task orders listed on this list because I don't feel that those are the more open opportunities. But if you are ever interested in going after an IDIQ type contract, there are opportunities for that too. And I do maintain a list of our current contracts that are indefinite delivery type. And you can see who has the contract now, and you can see when it expires, and you can kind of be positioning yourself to go after the next iteration when we are ready to reprocure for that need. So the following actions, we may not have an assigned acquisition strategy or have determined how we're going to be competing it, but mostly we post everything that goes through our contracting office, which is anything over the micro purchase threshold. We post almost everything to sam.gov. Some things they may do, like go out to 3 contractors, but I think that's pretty rare for us. We usually post everything out there. And you want to keep in mind that each of the actions listed here, everything is subject to change without notice. And then we also have additional needs that can come up, or funding, the funding shifts, and, we may not be able to do that project, but we can do this project, so there's constant change in our procurement. So we do try to keep these forecasts up to date. It's a little bit difficult to track them through the system all the time, but we do the best we can. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is we use what's called blanket purchase agreements. These are not competed. So if you see on our list of BPAs that the supply that we're looking for is something in your wheelhouse, reach out to me, get me your capabilities statement, let me put it in front of the requiring element and see if maybe there's a chance that, you could get on a BPA contract. So those, usually we have, it depends on the need and how often we use things, but anywhere from 3 to 5 or more contractors can be on a blanket purchase agreement. So you're only competing amongst those who have been awarded the agreement with you. So these are the anticipated contract actions. And I know this is tiny, but you will be able to view this a little easier once you get the slides. View them yourself, make it bigger. As I said, subject to change, but you can see kind of which projects or which areas we're looking to do the work. You can see a description of what we're trying to do, whether it's architect engineering, construction services, or supplies. I've listed that. I've tried to list the procurement method if I know what it was, and then the anticipated set aside. So we obviously try to set everything aside for small business to the maximum extent practicable. Some things due to scope, complexity, depth of bench, that sort of thing. Some of those we just can't set aside. And a lot of times we have to take into consideration bonding considerations. Some small businesses don't have huge bonding. So, it's kind of, we do the best we can to set aside for small business, and we rely heavily on market research to determine whether to set aside or not. And then this is some more. These are services and supplies that we know that we're going to be needing. The far right column shows the projected advertised date. A lot of times those dates slip, or, we don't know exactly when it's coming. So if you find an item on this list that you're interested in, please reach out to me and I will get you as much up-to-date information as I can about the event, about the the procurement so that you can be ready to come to put in for it when it comes out. And that concludes my presentation. This is my information on how to get in touch with me. And I'm open for questions if anyone has any.
Thank you so much, Eileen. I always enjoy hearing you present. There is a question, and well, actually, there were two. Deborah, will you please contact me about your certification question? I gave you my email. There is a question, where do we find micro purchase threshold opportunities?
Ah, okay. Now that, what I like to tell people about these micro purchase, these are happening kind of in a more regional or local area. So if you live in proximity to, say, some of our, we have several in northeastern Ohio, for example, several projects in that area. If that's the area that you service, you probably want to find out where those are located and get in touch with, if it's a supply, probably the maintenance lead, maintenance mechanic lead, or just send information to the office and let them know you're out there so that they can reach out to you. But that's really, you're really getting kind of in a more local area when you're talking about that. So that's kind of where that is. And I don't have information on who our credit code holders are, so I can't get that to them specifically. So that's what I recommend, just kind of doing a little bit of research into the area that you're in, and I can help you with that. Identifying which projects are more local to you. But yeah, we do buy a lot on the government purchase card, because supplies we can purchase up to $10,000 on our GPC.
All right. Thank you. Ramon O'Neill would like to know, we're a roofing company and we're interested in receiving local, state, or federal jobs. So sometimes when we start on a specific industry, then everyone will also put into the chat all of their individual industries. So what would you recommend to someone in any industry to find opportunities with Army Corps? I know you went over that, but
I think just kind of know that these things are kind of, they pop up sometimes. Like, I may not have them on this list. So I think just making sure that I have your information in my database, which usually what I do is I ask people to send me their capability statements, and I upload it by NAICS code into our database, and everybody in the district has access to that. And the contract specialists know that they can go there to see who's interested in doing work with us in each specific industry. So there would be one, the heavy civil works or roofing or concrete pouring or whatever. So whatever the NAICS code is, they'd be able to find you there.
all right, thank you. We had a question about medical home healthcare. Relisha, I recommend reaching out to the APEX accelerators on that for your specific type of industry.
Yeah, or VA, maybe the VA.
The VA, absolutely. So the PowerPoints Shonda's saying will be available, converted to PDF, and become available on the University OU APEX Accelerator website. All right, and just for the sake of time, thank you so much, Eileen. Again, if you have like industry specific questions, your APEX accelerators will always be able to assist you with your specific type of industry. And I'm going to turn it over to Shonda to introduce our next presenter.
Awesome. Thank you, Jill, and thank you, Eileen. These presentations aren't just for our small businesses. Let me turn on my mic, but they are also for us so that we can always stay in the loop. There are always updates, changes. So it's always good to have a refresh. We've worked with Eileen, but it's always good to have her and to see the wonderful things that they're doing with the Army Corps. And I just wanted to mention, as you're looking to get started and break into government contracting, federal government contracting, those micro purchases may be a great way for you to start to get your foot in the door and to give you an opportunity with an agency, and then you can kind of build from there. All right, again, thank you, Eileen. Up next, we have Miss Eunice Adams-Sipp, who serves as a small business specialist with the Office of Small Business Programs at NASA Glenn Research Center up in Cleveland. Always good to have Eunice as well. We've worked with her for many years. So Eunice, I will turn it over to you.
Awesome, awesome. Well, good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to provide some information on how to do business with NASA Glenn Research Center and NASA in general. So I'm going to share my screen and just let me know when you can see my.
It looks
Can you
good.
see?
Yes.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay, so this slide is just a little information about me, and you'll be able to read that when you get the slides. The mission of NASA Glenn Research Center is to drive research, technology, and systems to advance aviation, expand the human presence across the solar system, and enable exploration of the universe and improve life on Earth. The way we do that, we have some strategic goals, and that is to expand human knowledge through new scientific discoveries, extend human presence to the surface of the moon, onto Mars for sustainable long-term exploration, development, and utilization, catalyze economic growth and drive innovation to address national challenges, and enhance capabilities and operations to catalyze current and future mission success. So the way we do that is at Glenn Research Center, we have 6 core competencies, and I'm not going to go into depth on them. When you go to the NASA Glenn Research website, you can look into the details of those core competencies. But this is very important to know because each center has their own core competency. So it's aircraft propulsion, in space propulsion cryogenics, power energy conversion, power energy storage and conversion, communications technology, materials and structures for extreme environments, and biological and physical sciences. So our procurement office supports 2 sites. One is Lewis Field. Lewis Field is located adjacent to the Cleveland Hopkins Airport. We have about 3,500 employees, including civil service and contractors on the Lewis Field site. We sit on about 342 acres, 50 miles west in Sandusky, Ohio. If you're familiar with Cedar Point, you know where this facility is our Neil A. Armstrong facility. It has much more acreage. We have about 100 or so employees there, and that is our testing facility. So we do a lot of loud testing at that facility. So we don't want to disturb our neighbors. So it sits on much more acreage. We do, and just from this map, you can see that we have a lot of different centers, but we actually have 10 centers throughout the country, and then we'll all support. Some of the smaller ones are associated with a particular center. So the mission of NASA, of the Office of Small Business Programs, is to support, promote, and integrate small businesses into the industrial base of contractors and subcontractors that support future of space exploration, scientific discovery, and aeronautics research. So as we all know, that small businesses are the backbone of the American economy. And so we depend a lot on small businesses for innovation, new innovation that comes up, especially in the technology area. At Glenn Research Center, what's unique about Glenn Research Center is that our mission is primarily supported by small businesses, and that's in everything that we do, because we actually buy everything from, I always say, from space, from aeronautics and research to roads and commodes and toilet paper. We buy all kinds of things at the center. The size of our center is almost like a small city, so you know that we buy all kinds of different things. So for our top 10, I just have on this slide our top 10 NAICS codes that we have we purchased in, really this is FY24. As you know, the top one would be research and development, research center. So 541715 is primary, but we also, like I said before, we have machine shops, we have facilities, support services, construction, engineering, all kinds of different things within Glenn Research Center. So one of the ways that you can stay abreast of the different opportunities that we have at Glenn Research Center and all of the centers is through the acquisition forecast. And just as one of our other presenters said, is that we try to keep the acquisition forecast up to date as much as possible. The world of procurement is very dynamic, so the forecast will provide you a snapshot of what's going on at the center, at the different centers, and where we are in the procurement process. Which really is awesome, and I don't want to click on this because it'll take me somewhere else. But when you get the slides, you can click on this link and it'll take you. You can sort by center, you can sort by NAICS code, you can sort by the what the particular requirement is. So there's different ways to sort on this, and then also the point of contact for each of those. Each of our requirements is on the forecast. Another way that you can actually learn how to interact with NASA is through the Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA. You can make a FOIA request, especially when you're looking at a particular requirement that is, it could be another, we have quite a few recurring requirements, and to see what's going on in that happen in the statement of work. And just to let you know, for the most part, when we have recurring requirements, the statement of work does not change too much. Usually about 85% of the statement of work will remain the same. But as you know, when you're looking at your request for proposals and you are looking to bid on a contract, make sure to read that request for a proposal thoroughly. Another way that you can interact and find out more information is through our active contract listings. Our active contract listings are in 8 areas where we have recurring buys. The one thing that I would like to say is that the landscape of procurement has changed a lot at NASA, a lot within the federal government. So we have contracts where we have enterprise contracts where some of the requirements have been combined onto multiple award schedules and things like that. So just to be aware of that. The way you would use this contract, the contract listings that you're looking at the center, the NAICS code, this is the buy that had happened right before this. You're looking at the contract name, the contractor and contract number is on the active list, the type of competition that it went through, the potential contract value, and the main thing that you're looking for is your ultimate end contract date. Because our contracts, when we start, we do a lot of large dollar value contracts. So we're actually starting to look and form teams and things like that 18 to 24 months before the contract ends. So it gives you time to start looking at the contract, whether or not you want to get in touch with the small business specialist or small business professional in the area of the center, and also with the contracting officer. So sometimes, depending on where the contracting officer is in the process of doing their procurement, they're willing to meet with small businesses. I highly encourage you to get registered on the NASA vendor database. So this is primarily the instructions on how to get it onto the NASA vendor database. Number one, you need to be registered in the System for Award Management or SAM.gov. And then what you do is you register your business. And this is mainly for businesses that are interested in doing business with NASA. So this particular database is used not just for you to put, well, the great thing about it, I love it, is that you can put your capabilities or any other documents that you would like to do put on the database, but then you also can use the database for your own research. If you would like to team, if you want to do teaming with someone, or you want to get in touch with another business that is has the same capabilities, you can do that. This database is open to both large and small businesses. So there's a lot of different businesses on this database. And additionally, the agency users use that. So as we're doing market research, contract officers, contract specialists, any of our team members can do research and looking for businesses that have registered in the database and may have the capabilities to work on a particular requirement that we have at the center. Another thing that we have, and which I really love, this is really my favorite. I have to say I'm partial to it. It's a mobile app. So just full disclosure, if you look at my phone, I have maybe, I'd say at least over 100 apps. And I really love my apps, because I can go to my apps. If I want to get something at Macy's or whatever, I can click on the app and I can go into Macy's and get whatever I want to do. Well, basically, the mobile app is like that. You can go into the app. I encourage you to, the app is available on iOS and Android platforms. It has the same capabilities as what you would have on the website. So it's at your fingertips. And you have the active contract listing. You have, it's actually more on there because our metrics are on there, goaling. You can still see I believe that I already said the acquisition forecast is on there. And so there's a lot of different information. We push out information through a lot of different platforms, but this is one that I really love, and it's updated pretty regularly. If, of course, like with any other thing, if you see something on the platform that is not up to date, let me know, and then I can make sure that it gets to the right person. So the one thing, and a lot of people have their idea what they think NASA is looking for or what they do, but I just have some marketing do's and don'ts when you market to NASA and to NASA Glenn Research Center any of the centers. The main thing is to make sure that you do your homework. Each center, like what I have, put those core competencies in. Those are the core competencies for NASA Glenn Research Center. Those are not the core competencies for all of the other centers. So make sure you do your research on what the center's mission is. If you decide that you want to go out and to send an email, send the email to the professional that you want to get in contact with. Do not send an email blast to every one of the professionals on the email list, because I guarantee there will be deleted, because you don't know, you're just sending out random information. Make sure you're looking at, hey, you know what, I am interested in the facilities contract. I see I looked at sam.gov, you have a facilities contract coming up. Can I get more information about that? That is the way you should do. Don't send a general email blast, because we have so many, because there's one of me and there's 400 of somebody else. So I wouldn't be able to respond to those as efficiently as if you let me know. Please use the FOIA webs if you need to. Now, a lot of times, if you want some information, you can reach out to the contracting officer, and you may not have to go through FOIA, because FOIA does have may have a fee depending on what you're looking for. Respond to your market research. So when we go out with our sources sought, we are really looking for something, either request for information, or our sources sought. And it's so important, I cannot emphasize it enough, to respond to that market research, because we cannot set aside any procurement if we don't know that there's small businesses out there that are capable of doing the work. And then it also allows us that if we would like to set aside within a socioeconomic category, we can also do that as well. So if we have enough businesses that respond capable, remember that you have to be capable to do the work. Please respond to those sources sought. Use your available resources. That's another thing I can't emphasize enough. This particular form is so unique and wonderful to use because you're looking at different agencies that use small businesses in different ways. But the SBA, your APEX Accelerator, in your local, there are other local uh, um, businesses, or I'm sorry, agencies that can also assist you. Like for here in Cleveland, we also have the Greater Cleveland Partnership. We have the Minority Business Procurement Centers. Use your local agencies to assist you with to find out information. Another thing I say is be patient, because we get so many emails. I might not be able to respond to you right away, but if you can email me back and say, it's not that I didn't want to email, but your email will get pushed down to say, hey, you know what? I sent you an email 2 weeks ago. Just want to see if you're still available to talk. And I'm more than happy to talk or set up a capability briefing with you and your company or your team members. So please do that. One of the things that I do want to say is that just because we have, you'll see that the goals are not met, don't assume that's going to be automatically set aside. Like I said before, that market research determines whether or not we can set aside, and we have to have capable businesses. As I said, don't send out just generic emails. And then the other thing is, don't try to speak to the end user. Well, you know what? It depends on where you are in your business, or in your business communication. But most of the time, the end users do not make a decision on the procurement awards. The decisions are made through the procurement process. So your small business specialist, your contracting officer, your even perhaps the contracting officer representative can give you more information on a particular requirement. I would a little bit deeper in the sources sought. The way we use our sources sought is our way of doing our market research. We can do set asides in 4 major areas. We can do an 8A set aside, which is a subset of the small disadvantaged business. We could do a woman-owned and economically disadvantaged woman-owned small business, which is a subset of that. Service disabled veteran-owned small business, and then your hub zone small business. So most of the time when we go out with a sources sought, the draft statement of work will be attached. Make sure to respond to it. And the one thing I would have to say too is, if you see a sources sought notice or request for information and you can do part of it, respond to it. Because like I said before, our market research is going to determine how we actually can go out for bid. So if we have to do, let's suppose we have to do a unrestricted one. We know that we have small businesses that are capable of doing the work, and so we know that a larger business, when we do unrestricted, there are requirements for subcontracting plans, and we know that there's businesses out there that can do some of the work. So if there's an opportunity to do some subcontracting work within that particular requirement. So when you go out with when you respond to the sources sought, don't submit a capability statement, or a brochure, respond to the sources sought, the questions, put your past performance information and any affiliate information that you have, and familiarize yourself with the ostensible subcontracting rule. And that's a long, let's look that up. But it's when a short thing is when a contractor doesn't responds to it, but they do not do all of the work. They say they can do the work, they can't, and the partner or their partner is doing most of the work, and that's not goodness. So even if the procurement is not conducted locally, the services are still needed. Subcontracting opportunities, especially since we're combining a lot of the requirements, are available. Stay apprised of the requirement. Small business participation, I'm sorry about that, is still a major consideration in our sourcing decisions. Carefully read all of the RFP materials. I can't emphasize that enough, even with the incumbents, because have been a contracting officer before and have read proposals where the RFP was not thoroughly read. And so when the proposal came in, they did not respond to all the elements that were in the proposal. So if you want to win, that's the best thing to do. If you have any innovation when you respond to your RFP, make sure that you identify what it is. Make sure that if there's any cost savings, identify that. If there's not, if it costs something, but in the long run it'll save money, put that in there as well. And make sure that what you have in your technical part of your proposal corresponds with your cost portion of it. So, one of the things that our office does is we communicate a lot. We have a lot of publications available. So there's especially be aware of the Small Business Guide, and there's a lot of information. We also, if you go to the website, when you click on the Office of Small Business Programs website, there's a lot of resource information available at the website, but that guide is really important. And then, like we said before, we have the Artemis publication, which is really awesome, which really shows you how much small businesses drive the formation of what NASA does. So we don't only just fly to the moon, but especially at Glenn Research Center, we do a lot of things that help in aviation. And so those are important things to kind of look at. We also have a learning series, which I love. I learn a lot from the learning series as well. They occur on the third Wednesday of every month, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do have a few subjects that we'll be looking into for the next few months, so you could take a look at that. Especially like marketing strategies for marketing, doing business with. We have the Science Center, so those are available as well. We communicate a lot on social media, especially, and I should have put this on here, but especially on LinkedIn. We are doing a lot of communication on LinkedIn, and also we also can put in we also put the information for our other partners that work with us in our for our office. So take a look at that. And I put this in here because this is a snapshot of the small business specialists at our centers. The main thing to do though is to look at the website, because this is static. Like I just noticed that one person has left already. So it's you can, but most of these people are available. Miss Kay Doan is not there anymore, but you can reach her. Reach any information for Stennis is now being done by Mr. Miller. But I just wanted you to see how we're divided up. Okay. And this is just a snapshot of where we are around the country, putting a face with the name. And if you want to learn anything more about the Office of Small Business Programs, click on this link, or you could give me a call and set up an appointment to see me. So I am finished with my presentation, and if do you have any if there's any questions, I'm here to answer.
Thank you so much, Eunice. I really appreciate it. I feel like Shonda, I learned something every time I hear the presentations from our PCRs and our small business professionals. Thank you.
You're
Do we
welcome.
have any questions for Eunice? All right, I don't see any so far. I will turn it back over to you then, Shonda.
All right, thank you, Jill. And last but definitely not least, we have Mr. Bradley Wall, who is with the Ohio National Guard. I believe he is the contracting chief over at the Ohio National Guard. So definitely looking forward to hear from him. Bradley, I will
Hi.
turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. I'm just sharing my screen real quick.
Okay.
Probably that one. Just probably make this full screen. This will be much shorter. I just realized I want to check out that app from NASA because we don't have an app. We're gonna have to get an app. I
You
love
have to
apps.
advocate for that?
I love apps. I'm the same way. My wife gets on me about you have way too many apps. I'm like, no. Okay. This is not full screen, is it? We need full
Well, I
screen.
think you have to do the enable editing then. Now we can see your notes.
We're good. Oh,
So I don't know if you want to.
let me just tell you what, turn off the extra screens that I have and focus on the one. And then you probably need my camera on.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay, big one.
There we go. Yep, looks good.
All right. And hopefully you can see me.
Yes.
Okay, my name is Brad Wall. I am the contracting officer, chief of contracting for the state of Ohio National Guard. This is my contact information, email, office, and cell phone. This is called How to Do Business with the Ohio National Guard. It's actually pretty simple. We have, but let's go over where we are located. We are located each of the main air wings, the 121st, 178th, 179th, and 180th. So that's, I remember it as distance from Columbus. So the lowest number is 121. So that's Rickenbacker. 178th is Springfield. 179th is Mansfield, which I'm the arrow pointing in the wrong direction. That's not Mansfield. It's higher up. And then the 180th is Toledo. And then the Army side of things, we're here in Columbus and we handle everything throughout the state. Recently, the 179th switched from a tanker wing to a cyberspace wing. So they are seeing a lot of growth in the Mansfield area because of this. So expect more contract opportunities to come out of the Mansfield region than normal, and our data does reflect that. Last year, we did 454 separate contract actions around the state. And this is just the federal side of things. There's also a state contracting agency. I only deal with the federal dollars. The large green wedge is the Army. So the Army does most of the contract actions, but these are generally smaller actions. These are like food and things of that nature for soldiers on drill weekends, things of that nature. The 179th is the Mansfield one. That's the one in yellow. They did 15% of the contract actions, but a lot of that has to do with changing over to a cyber warfare center. If you look at the next screen, dollar-wise, the 179th actually is larger than the Army side. So a lot of those contracts are for building, skiffs and things of that nature to handle the top secret activities that are going to be going on in the wing in the future. The Army side is around 19 million. 179th was over 20. And the other two wings are a little bit smaller, much smaller. Generally, we are almost exclusively small business. 92.5% last year went to small businesses. Of all the dollars spent went to small business. Broken out by quarter, most of the contracting, unfortunately, is done in the fourth quarter, and that's because of the way the budget flows through us from Congress. I would rather see it more flat and instead of just all in one quarter. It makes it hard for us to do our work. We do track which subsets of the SBA get the money. Generally, we hit every target. Unfortunately, this last year was like the first year in 7 years where we didn't hit green across the board. Service disabled, veteran owned, small business was lower than our goal. We only had 8%. Some of that was due to a termination for default that we had to put in there for one of the contractors. So that money got taken off. I think when we put it back on, it might recalculate and we'll be okay. We just settled the case and we're going to be reissuing that contract to the next contractor. But the bottom line is we are putting a lot of money out there and a lot of it goes to, almost all of it goes to small businesses. Some of the products and services that we use, mostly construction and maintenance, IT, healthcare, subsistence. But there's a lot of weird things that we do buy. Prefab and portable buildings, office furniture, caterers and food. I think most of the contracts for the Army are for caterers and food. There's quite a large variety of PSC codes. Made a note to add the codes to this slide for my next presentation. Again, learning from somebody else. Job site photos, the top left is a machine gun range that we built last year. That we also do a lot of, that's the tower that they can see the downrange to see if the targets are being hit. We have culverts, we have road work, we have kitchens that we built. I just came out of a meeting about an hour ago. We are going to be doing up at Camp James A. Garfield in Ravenna. We're going to have more culverts, more paving, and more fence, redoing the fence up in that region. So those are 3 big multi-million-dollar contracts that will be coming out this summer. We don't have a separate job site other than sam.gov. We don't have our own list of contractors that we go to. Generally, we put our sources sought out on sam.gov, and we'll take the data that we get from that sources sought and decide whether it should be, if we have enough interest to make it a service disabled or woman owned or 8A. And then we reissue the solicitation again back out on sam.gov. So in order to get a contract with the Ohio National Guard, you have to be registered in sam.gov, and you should be monitoring the sam.gov website for opportunities. So that's my presentation. If you have any questions, please let me know. But again, the main thing is we are very small business friendly, and we also require you to use sam.gov. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brad. I do second the motion that the Ohio National Guard is very small business friendly. I have appreciated working with the National Guard over the years, and a lot of firms that I've worked with, both with PTAC and with the SBA, got their start at the National Guard. So I just always a shout out to your efforts. Does anyone have any questions for the group at this point? We're right up against time. There's a couple of things I do want to go over as you're putting your questions in. The Ohio Business Matchmaker, I believe Shonda mentioned it at the beginning of the presentation, is on April 23rd and 24th at the Nutter Center in Dayton, Ohio. Registration has not quite opened yet for suppliers. That will happen around March 1st. So all of the presenters that you heard today, with the exception of Eunice, it's hard for her to get the travel as much as we'd love to have her be there
This
for the
year, Eunice,
matchmaker.
Still, I
she's
got
gonna join
money.
us
I'm
this year.
so happy.
You are? I missed that. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Yay.
So I will
Okay.
be there.
I'm so glad. That's great. That's great. I saw some newer, like some questions in there that kind of indicated to me that you might be new to government contracting. The matchmaker is a great opportunity for you to get additional exposure to everything government. Yes, there is federal, there's state, there's city, there's county. We're actually doing a panel discussion on doing business with airports this year because we want you as small businesses to understand that there's like a whole ecosystem in government. So if you can go to the event, it's the biggest one that we have in Ohio, and it's organized by the Ohio Department of Development, by SBA, and within the Ohio Department of Development, then APEX Accelerators, the Ohio Minority Business Assistance Center, and the Small Business Development Center. So we will all be there, and we'd love for you to be there. And I do not see any questions. I will, let's see, what's our next event? March 27th, we have a construction and architecture engineering event that's in person at the State Library of Ohio. So any of you that do construction or construction related services, specialty trade contractors, that will be an in-person event. And then we will have the matchmaker as our next in-person event. But getting ready for the matchmaker, we'll have a series of about 10 webinar trainings. So if you go to the Ohio Business Matchmaker website, I'll put that in the chat again. We have the first 4 already posted for the webinar trainings, and we are about to get the remainder of them posted as well. All right, am I forgetting anything? All right, I don't think so. But anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for today. We actually finished 2 minutes just right on time. So hopefully you got something out of the webinar today. Sierra, when is the matchmaker event? Okay, that is April 23rd and 24th at the Nutter Center. Will you send the slides? Okay, the slides are going to be available on the Ohio University APEX Accelerator website in about a week. I believe the link to the website is in the chat, but let me put that in there again. I'm putting that in there now. All right, very good. NASA and Eunice put very good. She put the vendor database for NASA there. I just put APEX Accelerator at Ohio University. Their website is on there. All right, everybody. But
Hey, Jill, this is
yes,
Pock.
yes, Pock.
Real quick, I inadvertently responded to Caleb Hawkins, but this question was more for you. How many were in attendance today?
On the
Yeah,
webinar,
Yes.
61 I saw was the
61 small businesses.
yes.
Okay, that's all I needed. Thank you.
Yep, we had about 120 pre-register. In general, we get about half of the people that pre-register attend.
Yep, that seems about right. Yep.